Okay, this is a correction to the first method. I needed to make this before I understood how to make it, if that makes sense. So the original way I did it, I came in like a cone, and it shouldn't be a cone, it should be a hyperbola, a parabola rather, which forms the hyperbola on the inside as we hollow it. Think of them as opposites. One at 90 degrees that way, one at 90 degrees that way. So I've got the same thing, 90 degrees this way, 90 degrees that way. The difference now is the spacing of the centres of the holes. I did this with half of the hole in from the edge of this, and then so I could use a 40, that's 40 millimeters, and then I could just stick a 40 millimeter block, that hole's centered and it turns balanced, and then repeat on the other side the other way round. But it leaves a really thick wall, and also the Breezy Hill ones, they kind of wrap around like this. So I figured a 6 millimeter wall thickness. So when I do that, what I end up with is come down 6 millimeters to my centre. That's going to be my hole going through, and then I can turn hollow out up to the edge in that kind of trumpet shape, the parabola, half from one side, half from the other, and then the same at 90 degrees offset, another one. Now you could, but I can't do it this way. If you turn the outside as well, so you left your 6 millimeters and turned off that outside, you can do that. The problem with doing that is you're turning away your markings, so you kind of might get lost. So I'm not going to do that. I might try it on a third attempt. I'm not sure whether that's easy enough to do or whether you just get lost. But what I did on the first one to finish it off is just French wheel, so it's just a sanding disc, and just sanded those curves in round once I'd got all the faces on, and that was pretty easy. And I might have a go at the turning, I'm not sure. If I put another circle 6 mils out and turn that as the outside, does it turn that away? Yeah, of course it does. It turns away quite a bit of my markings, so I'm not going to do that. Right, the other thing is, the final thing is the distance from that centre now, because it's 6 mil in, is 34. So I need 34 mil of material to keep it balanced on that centre, this side of the centre. I've already got 6, so another 28 millimeters. So I need to make a block the same squareness as this, 28 millimeters thick, glue it to one side, turn that, drill it, turn the parabolas in to create my half of my hyperboloid, and then I'll saw that. I'm going to glue it. I'm not going to use a paper glue joint. They were too weak, and it exploded once, and it came apart in the tape, and only the tape was holding it together, and it caused a lot of vibrations. So I'm not going to use that again. I'm going to actually glue it and then saw it off after, and then do the same, another 28 millimeter thick block on the other end, turning, and then turning the 2 paraboloids from this way. It's just so you've got a continuous cut and a way of keeping that hole on centre as much as anything. It just makes it easy, and it keeps it balanced. So that's the method I'm going to use for the next one. I'm not going to film a lot of it. This is the correction to this original video, if you like. You've got to turn in that shape. That stops your wings from, like I was saying, I was worried about these intersecting, and that's why I left it with such a thick wall thickness. But I realised that by using the parabolas, your walls can't intersect, so that's it. Because when I saw the stacking of this, I realised that, yeah, it's the stacking that's important for making it work in a way, or the shape that allows stacking. This won't stack, that does stack because I guess the geometry of that. This won't stack because that gap will be too narrow for the other one to fit into it. That one does stack. Okay, so I'm not going to do any more videos. They're an interesting little shape once they're done. So thanks for watching.